Thank you all for joining us today. I am outside here at our Faith Builds home. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but we'll do some introductions first for all the new faces and people, just so you can understand a little bit about who is all on calls today. So I'll start. I am Leah Borst. I am with Habitat for Humanity of Huron Valley. I work with our corporate and our faith partners on such initiatives like this, where we bring out volunteers and corporate and faith and communities together. Chris, if you want to go next.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chris Callan. I'm the engagement leader for Thrivent in the Detroit metro area. And I work alongside of our partnership with Habitat, and I am supporting 3 of these types of projects in the Detroit area. So excited to be here and excited to get going with this particular project.
And I am Marcy Blankenship. I am a representative at Thrivent, and I've been asked to hop on board and do what I can to help and support Habitat for Humanity in the Huron Valley for this project and others. So it's really fun to see all the community coming together and supporting such a great organization.
Anybody else want to introduce themselves?
I will. I'm Katie Rowan. I'm representing Bethlehem United Church of Christ here in Ann Arbor. And I particularly work with the youth and young adult group in our church. And our congregation has a history of working with Habitat over about the last 25 years. And that usually takes the form of a mission trip. So we have more worked with Habitats all over the place, most recently in Flint, but in different communities in Michigan and also in other states. And this dates back to the mid-90s. We had a trip planned for last summer, which was canceled. And, you know, we were not able to plan anything for this summer. So I'm looking for something for our group to do that's related to Habitat. We have done a few things with the local Habitat over the years, but that's been fairly limited. So anyway, I think it will be a great thing to get involved locally if there's interest from our congregation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Katie. Thanks for joining us today and for all that you've done for Habitat in general.
Bob? I can go. I'm Bob Ranger from Zion Lutheran Church here in Ann Arbor, and I'm on our Mission Corps Ministry Committee. And we've worked, I've only been on the committee about maybe 4 years or so, but we've worked with I think the church has worked with Habitat for 25 plus years, mostly locally here in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area. And I'm anxious to hear more about the projects this summer.
Thanks, Bob, and very good to see you again. Thanks for all you do with Zion. And Paul, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sorry I'm late. I have meetings today from 8 until 6 and no breaks. Yeah, I work with our Ypsilanti Free Methodist Church. I'm Paul Adams, and recently moved back from the Twin Cities back to this church. We were here 5 years ago, but I lead our team that is interested in basically taking care of our property, and also looking at starting a ministry within our church of helping other people connected to the church who need help in their homes from time to time.
Wonderful. Well, welcome, Paul. We're excited to have you guys here today to learn a little bit about what we're doing. I'll try not to take up too much of your time, as meetings back to back are not always the most joyous. Okay, so welcome to our Faith Build Venture program with Thrivent. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Habitat and what we do here on the local level. We do work internationally as well and have a few different partners that we serve with in Guatemala and Haiti. We also tithe funding to them as well, but that's not kind of a lot of this overview right now. What we do is we work right here in Washtenaw County. Most of our homes are here in Ypsilanti. We do have a few in Ann Arbor. We've been working in Washtenaw County since 1989, and we've helped more than 5,000 people and have about 250 Habitat homes throughout our community. This year, our goal is to renovate and sell between 12 and 15 homes to be energy efficient, and we sell them at affordable mortgages. The biggest misconception about our home ownership program is that we give away homes. And for those of you that have worked with Habitat, you know that we do not. We actually sell them at an affordable rate to qualified home buyers who could not get a mortgage elsewhere. Our guidelines are that they have to live or work in Washtenaw County. They have to demonstrate a need for safe and affordable housing, and they are of low income within our community standards. They do have to partner with us and provide 200 and now 25, we just changed that, sweat equity hours per adult that's applying to be a part of our program. And outside of our homeownership program, we do have what we call our Habitat home improvement program. That's where we're going into these communities that we serve, and we are working with current homeowners that already own their homes, not necessarily Habitat, and we do critical repairs for them. We also have a furnace test and tune program, refrigerator replacements, all sorts of different things to kind of help people still be able to afford their homes and live within their homes and be able to afford all the needs that they have in their home. Additionally, we have our Habitat education program, and this is our financial classes where we work with. We've always had it as a part of our home ownership program requirements, where they have to meet with our financial coach and work on budgeting and their finances and make sure that they're obviously able to afford our homes. But we have since opened this up to the community in the past few years. And we host a plethora of classes on all sorts of different things, from financial trainings to budgeting. We offer one-on-one coaching for any families that are interested, not necessarily to get them into our homeownership program, but just to obviously help folks that are already living within the communities and be able to live a very financially stable life. And this year, through the HIP program, which is our home improvement program, we are going to do 120 repairs, projects for homeowners. And then our education program, we usually serve about 250 individuals and families within our communities through that program. Lastly, but not least, our community development. Now, this is something that was new to Habitat less than 10 years ago, where we kind of focused on neighborhood revitalization. And we have since determined there are 3 target communities within Ypsilanti that we really focus on: Galt Village, Sugarbrook, and West Willow. Most of our homes for our home ownership program are within these communities, but we have also started to work with community leaders, different organizations, and the residents themselves to determine what they're looking for in their communities, what improvements they need to be made. We've started neighborhood watch groups, built free little libraries. We've hosted a bunch of events, social events and youth engagement events for folks to come together and get to know their neighbors, as well as neighborhood beautification days. That's another area that we also utilize volunteers in, where we'll come in and we'll clean out storm drains, we'll fix up community centers, do all sorts of different activities, plant flowers, mulch, all sorts of things like that. So that's pretty much Habitat in a nutshell. It's overwhelming. It's good work and great work, but I know when I came into Habitat, it was like, whoa, we do so much more than just renovating and selling homes. Does anybody have any questions about our programs at this time? Oh, well, great. I'm always available should you have any questions following the meeting. This is also being recorded, so you can share with folks within your congregations as well. And with that, we are moving on to our Habitat and Thrivent Faith Builds. Now, Thrivent has been a longtime partner of Habitat, and I'll let our Thrivent friends here tell us a little bit more about that. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you about our partnership this year. We are partnering on this home that you see right behind me to help a local family that's in need of safe and affordable housing. So what that is Thrivent and Habitat will then invite local congregations to come together to either volunteer with us on one of our build days, raise funds to help support the build, or I mean, if praying for the project and family is what you're capable of doing, we're certainly welcome of that as well. We will review all these in a little bit as well. A little bit about the volunteering aspect. We usually look for between 4 and 6 volunteers each day. We work on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, but we have designated 3 build days for this Faith Build Venture program. Those will be Friday, July 9th, Saturday, July 10th, and Friday, July 23rd. We also do have additional group days. Some congregations do like to just, close a group day for their congregation, which is wonderful. If you think you can get 4 to 6 volunteers for one day, we would love to have that. We do have additional opportunities in June 25th and 26th and July 16th and 17th. However, if those don't fall within your calendar, you'd prefer to look outside of those, we certainly can talk about other dates that might be available for you as well. One thing to mention is that no construction experience is necessary. As you can hear, there's a construction worker here right now. He is on staff and one of our house leaders, and they are here with the volunteer groups, and they will lead the day and talk about all the tasks that need to be done. And we have tools, materials. I'll get into all that here shortly as well. But definitely let your folks know that they do not need to know how to renovate a home. We will certainly help with that. And just another note is those under 16 years old are not permitted on our sites due to safety and OSHA guidelines. But 16 and 17-year-olds can come, but they must be accompanied by an adult. Typical tasks for volunteer days include framing, installing installation, blue board, house wrap, siding. As you can see, this house is in the very early stages, so there will probably be house wrap and siding to be doing here. We'll do floor repair as well. Once we get past the place of drywall, then we will be doing caulking, trim, installing the cabinets, shelving, fixtures, putting in windows and doors. And then there is always landscape and exterior work and obviously painting to do. Okay, and with that, I would like to welcome Chris Callan and Marcy to tell you a little bit more about Thrivent.
Are you going to go ahead, Marcy?
Sure. Anything particular you want me to just introduce myself, or anything particular you want me to introduce, Chris?
Yeah, if you could just tell a little bit about yourself and maybe about the company in general, and then, I'll just fill in any gaps, or we can just kind of answer any questions.
Okay. Well, Thrivent is a lot of things, just kind of like Habitat for Humanity is, right? It's hard to simplify, but one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is encouraging our clients to be generous, to giving them the tools that they need to be generous. And one of those ways is through Habitat for Humanity, that we partner with them, along with many other service events and action teams, that we provide money to our clients, because they all have different things on their hearts of what's important to them. And so I work with their finances as I help them plan with their budgets and their investments and their retirement income strategies. By putting all these things in place, I'm giving them the opportunity to be generous. If we don't budget well and we don't plan well, save well, put in protection when life brings its unexpected things, then we don't always have the resources to be generous. And so many of our clients at Thrivent are very driven in their generosity. So this plays a really big part in how we help them plan, why we help them plan. One of our favorite mottos is that money is not the goal, money is the tool. And not for all our clients, but for many of our clients, generosity is really their goal, either in their community, their church, and certainly their families. So I've been with Thrivent maybe 3.5 years, although I come from a family. My father was with Thrivent since the 80s. My sister and brother-in-law were actuaries at the home office. So I've kind of been partnering with this organization for a long time, and it's been working with Habitat for Humanity for so many years. It's just kind of been one of our favorite ways to give back to the community because they do such a great job. It's really easy to partner with you guys. That's all I had, Chris. What holes?
Yeah, that's great. I'll just add that just to give a little bit of background to you faith leaders, Thrivent is the #1 corporate sponsor of Habitat for Humanity nationally and internationally. Katie, you mentioned some other trips that you've taken. And so we've been partnering with the Huron Valley affiliate for quite some time and doing a lot of different kinds of projects together. And our focus is, our clients. We do serve Christians with financial clarity. And we work alongside of churches to bring resources to you educationally and actually, business to business kinds of resources. So it's just really our privilege to support what's going on with this project in Ypsilanti and to get to know new faith communities so that we can really, like Marcy said, help the people that are part of your congregation really develop a strong financial plan that reflects their desire to live a generous life. So that's us in a nutshell. We're really excited about what lies ahead and really appreciative of you as representatives of your congregations for being here today.
Thank you, Chris and Marcy, and thanks for providing lunch. I hope y'all were able to use that DoorDash coupon. And I'm just going to show a quick little video here if it plays about the Habitat and Thrivent faith builds, and then we'll get a little bit deeper into what that means for you all and how you can engage with us.
They say home is where the heart is, and at the heart of every strong community, there are those who are willing to lift others up, helping those who need a home. With Faith Builds, Thrivent, Habitat for Humanity, and the local Christian community, help a family with a safe and decent place to call home. Church members are key to the partnership, putting God's love into action through talent and passion, building homes with a strong foundation in caring and faith. There are many ways to volunteer. You don't have to be a carpenter or a craftsman to contribute. Many hands make light work, and every role is important. Participants in Faith Builds say it's a life-changing experience. Together, Thrivent and Habitat help both those giving and those receiving on their journey to a more content, confident, and fulfilling life. Will you partner with us to put God's love into action through a faith build in your community?
Great. I hope were you all able to hear that video. I think so. Okay. All right. Well, now here, without further ado, is the family that will be helping. This is the Patterson family. That's Cherise Patterson and her 4 children, if you can see on the screen. She's a nursing assistant at St. Joe's Hospital, but she's currently in school to obtain her nursing degree. She's got the 4 kids, as I mentioned. They're Jason, who's 21, Ayana, 17, Deshawn, who's 16, and Carice, who is 9. She's been out here working with us. As I mentioned before, they have to put in 225 sweat equity hours. As you can see, we are in the process of building her home. You can see in the lower right-hand corner there of the screen, that's her home. That's what now stands behind me. we did pull off the front. We do a lot of renovation work to the homes that we do. This is located at 835 LeMay in Ypsilanti. It's a little bit over 1,300 square feet. When we complete this home, it'll be 3-bedroom, 1 bath with a basement and a detached shed. I'll give you kind of a tour of the inside of the house right now as it stands. We do currently have some volunteer groups coming out on Fridays and Saturdays, so the house will be a little bit more progressed by the time we get out here in July. So that's kind of exciting, especially for those rainy days when there's not a lot of fun sunshine outside like today, so we can all work outside. Sharice's been very thankful. She's worked with our financial coach to get her finances in place and be able to afford the home behind me. One thing I know I didn't mention is that we do work within the HUD standards, which means that we make sure that our homeowners can afford their mortgage and what is best for their family and their finances. Any questions about the family or the home at all? All right, great. Well, we'll move on. Okay, and now we're going to move on to becoming a Faith Builds partner. So if you are interested in joining us on this project, that could mean all three of these things, or just one, or as like I said, whatever you feel comfortable with, your congregation feels comfortable with, and the support you end up getting. That could mean that you recruit and bring volunteers to help on the build, or you could commit to a financial contribution to help cover the costs related to this renovation project. Or lastly, you can engage your congregation to pray for the project and the family. I'll go over these 3 short things here in a minute. So recruiting volunteers. We will provide you with a volunteer flyer following this meeting that details the build days, and we'll have also a link for folks of your community or your congregation to sign up. We encourage people to put that in their newsletter or their church bulletin. You can post it on your website or announce it at service. Lots of congregations, share this word in different ways. And I'm sure you already have your means of recruiting volunteers, so whatever works for you. We do also have the ability to have printed paper waivers that folks can sign should you do like a handwritten sign up at church or whatnot. The flyer itself will have the details about volunteering, a lot of the FAQs and how to prepare for the day, what to bring, the fact that we provide all the materials, tools, obviously the supervision, as well as bottled water for the day. And I usually encourage a lot of the congregations that get involved to have a point of contact person. That could be obviously everybody that's here on the call, but somebody that folks in your congregation can come to ask questions, or be the person that is maybe responsible for making sure everybody's got lunch for the day, or making sure everybody has, all the information that they need. And then we have email lists, or you can have an in-person sign up. We do have the opportunity to have a sign up online. So if that's something that you want to do for your congregation as well, we can create a sign up for you too. Because of COVID, we do ask that volunteers pre-register. Either they can do that online through the link that we provide, or within your church, just as long as we know who to have on site that day, just because we want to make sure we are not reaching capacity, getting over, and we know who to expect and can do contact tracing. We do require all volunteers to sign a waiver. That is part of the sign up online. So once they fill out their information, they'll have a box that says, sign your waiver, and it'll have all the information for them as well. But as I mentioned, we do have the paper waivers as well. And then what you would expect from us is that the Tuesday before the build days, we will email everybody that's on our registration list, all the volunteers, about all our protocols, safety regulations, where to meet again, the time frame again, as well as what tasks they can expect to work on for the day. Any questions about volunteering before I move on to our current COVID-19 guidelines?
I have a question. How far in advance do you recommend that people sign up when they're volunteering?
Great question. we can start signups as soon as possible. And then usually we like to have everybody signed up by the Tuesday morning prior to the Friday or Saturday build day. So by Tuesday of the work week, just so we have an accurate head count and know who to expect on site and can prepare.
And Leah, this is Chris. Preferably, would you want the volunteers from each congregation to come out together, or does it really matter to you?
It doesn't matter to us. As I mentioned, we do have 3 days specifically designated for the faith build. So you can simply include those links into your promotions of the event, or I can set up a private build day for your congregation as well. We've had folks do it both ways. So following this meeting, I'll follow up with each of you and you can let me know which way you'd like to go and we can work from there.
I had another question. So you mentioned at one point having 4 to 6 volunteers. Is that the max for all volunteer days?
That is the maximum for our build days, yes. When we do any of their exterior project days, which is outside of our homeownership program, we do have the capacity to host up to 20 just because it's outside and because we break up into smaller groups of 6 folks to work at each different house or project. We are keeping it 4 to 6 right now for our build sites simply because of COVID and the size of our homes and to be able to allow for proper social distancing. Obviously things are very much changing and by the mid-July we might be able to host 1 or 2 more people, especially because we're outside too. We do put the 6 limit cap on there because our guidelines and restrictions in terms of people that can be on site have been limited to 10 due to COVID. So we leave room for the partner family to come out and join the group and work on their sweat equity hours, as well as a construction staff or another family to work as well.
Thanks.
Any other volunteer questions at the moment? We try to make it as seamless and give you as much information up front as possible, but we also have a volunteer coordinator, James Hanna, who is available for any kind of questions that volunteers have along the way. His contact information will be on the flyer that I send out with all the volunteer details as well. But obviously I'm available too, should anybody want to reach out and ask questions. And with that, obviously, COVID-19 has changed a lot of things for a lot of people in the last year. As of this week, we decided to continue to still operate as we had been operating in the past. We are requiring the volunteers to pre-register and verify their contact information for contact tracing purposes. This will be done on site. We'll do kind of a roll call, make sure that we have everybody's proper name and contact information, just so if we have to contact anybody, should we ever have a case of COVID. I can tell you that we have been having volunteers on our sites since last summer, about actually late July as well. And knock on wood, but we have not had any instances of COVID on our sites, which is wonderful. Most of our staff is now vaccinated as well. And from what we're finding, a lot of volunteers are as well. However, we don't want to make anybody uncomfortable in the fact of, some people might be wearing masks, some people might not. So we've decided to continue to ask volunteers to bring and wear their masks while they're on site. As you see, I'm outside and I am not wearing my mask. We are allowed to come outside, obviously take breaks. Anybody that's working outside can take their mask off, but anybody that's working with inside the home will be asked to wear a mask while they are volunteering with us. Obviously, we would like to have people frequently wash and sanitize their hands. We have a lot of sanitizers around our sites as well. And we also have a lot of disinfectant and cleaning sprays, which we do clean and sterilize and sanitize our tools and materials between group build days. So once you guys are here on site, there will be designated tools and materials for everybody to use, and those have been safely taken care of prior to arrival, and we will also sanitize them following the day. We do ask that people bring their own water bottles and lunch. Like I said, we do have bottled water on site. We also do have backup masks just in case anybody has forgotten theirs or doesn't have one. And the lunch we do ask folks bring, I know in the past, and some of you may have experience too, where groups like to have a kind of like a community lunch type thing. We're still encouraging folks to not do that just because we don't want to cross contaminate. But we have had folks that have ordered lunch. So like ordering boxed lunches is okay, things of that sort. And we do, like I said, we keep track of everybody that comes in and out of our sites. We all do a check-in, even contractors. So we will notify anybody that has been on our site should we ever have an experience of COVID within the period that you've been here on our sites. Any questions about COVID? Sure, we're all familiar with all of these standards and guidelines by now. Okay, and now we're going to move on to the funding of the home. So we are very fortunate to have Thrivent as a partner. As Chris said, they've gone back numerous years, and I know some of you have probably worked on some of our faith builds or building on faith or things that we've done with Thrivent in the past. So fortunately, Thrivent has committed $15,000 to help us host this event and bring out volunteers and engage with some congregations in the community. So we're thankful for you guys for doing that. We do estimate that from start to finish, Habitat House costs us about $135,000. That's from acquisition all the way through the rehabilitation costs, the personnel associated with it, the contractors, and the home buyer support and education classes that we do for them as well. Everything is not free, unfortunately, and as properties continue to rise and the rates continue to rise, it's a wonderful thing for our communities, but it's getting harder and harder for us to acquire houses. We are lucky that each year we do acquire a few properties, whether that be homes that need to be renovated, or we have some lots that do not have homes that we can build new homes on. We are projecting that we have at least enough homes or lots for about a year out, and then we'll start to see, hopefully, we're looking at other alternative solutions as housing continues to rise. In funding, we usually get about $47,000 between state and federal funding. That also includes contracts that we have with the county as well. And the donated labor, which does include those volunteer hours and materials, is about $10,000. On some homes, which we estimate will be this one, we'll have about $15,000 in donated labor and materials. So that leaves up $73,000 that we have to fundraise. We have congregations, corporate support. This home is also supported by one of our corporate partners as well. So we tend to pool a lot of our resources together. But we are asking, hopefully, that if you could consider a donation of at least $500. We're not gonna withhold it to that, but we would appreciate any little bit. Every little bit helps. We do have about $50,000 on this home already, so we are very, very close to that $73,000. Any questions?
So you're saying you would appreciate a $500 donation if you volunteer, but that's not required?
Correct. It's not required. We do appreciate it. We estimate it costs us about $1,000 to host a volunteer group. That's from the materials. Obviously, you've seen lumber prices have gone up, the supervision for the day, and all the resources that we need to use. It's not required, though.
Okay.
Hey, Leah, if I can interject there, that would be one way that we would have some ideas of if there are individuals or groups within your congregation that would like to be involved in this project, but aren't, really the type to swing a hammer or do the labor piece, that we would have some suggestions on how, they might do a fundraiser, to raise that $500. So we're interested in engaging as many people within your congregation as possible, realizing that the Habitat mission and what they do in communities really resonates with a lot of individuals, even those that don't want to do the construction. So we try to find ways to really engage as many people in your congregation as possible.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, for adding that. And if that's something of interest too, we have, like Chris said, we've got ideas on fundraising within the congregation. I know midsummer like this, a lot of budgets are probably usually set depending on when the calendar or the year ends for budgeting. But there's different things that people do for Habitat. I know some churches have done like a stud signing party. Well, they'll have one of the 2x4s out at at church, you know, after service one day, and everybody comes, gives $1 and signs the stud, and then we'll put it up in the house. So there's things like that, or, you know, we've got little cards that say like for $5 you can, $5 donation equals 1 bucket of nails on the house, or, you know, attributing it to what the actual expense would be for our organization. So it's usually helpful for people to kind of get I like to at least know what, you know, what that bit helps and how. Any other?
Yeah, Leah, I'll piggyback on that too. And there are our current clients, our members of Thrivent have access to member benefits that provide them opportunities to access generosity funds, both in the terms of action teams and Thrivent Choice. So again, if your church chooses to participate, we can help you find ways to identify existing Thrivent members that are probably already a part of your community that could access their the Thrivent generosity programs to, you know, further enhance your congregation's ability to raise the funds that you might want to raise.
Lee, I've just got a comment. Zion's going to help for sure with a financial donation and hopefully with some volunteers, but we're still not getting a lot of people coming into the church yet. So this link that you're going to forward me is going to be really important so that the volunteer side, they're going to be able to go there seamlessly and not have any trouble signing up. So that's just going to be extra important.
Yes, great. Thank you, Bob. And yeah, we've made that process very easy for people. So it just literally links to the day of the event and has all of the information that they would need to understand how to build with us for the day. And then it's simple as putting in their name, their email address, and that's all we ask for, is so that we can contact them the day of. And like I said, the waiver's included in it as well. So it kind of takes place of everything, and then we send out a nice friendly reminder the week of, letting them know that they've signed up with us. Great. Well, thank you all. And we will move on then to prayer and engagement. As I said, the third and final piece of our Habitat Faith Build partnership is featuring us during service. And that could be, you know, lifting us up in prayer, praying for all people in need of safe and affordable housing. Just, you know, really praying for the volunteers that are working here, and just really thinking about everybody that's involved in the process, as well as obviously the family. Some churches have organized a prayer group where they, you know, regularly do something in honor of Habitat. We really like to encourage a prayer during build days. Some folks like to have one at the start of the day, just praying for everybody that's working today, hoping we have a safe and healthy day as well. Or having it at lunchtime. As I kind of mentioned, we have those stud signing events. You could do that before or after service. That can be tied to fundraising, but it also does not need to be, and we can certainly use the wood. So we'll be able to do something like that. Another thing folks and other churches have done before is making a welcome home basket that we can give the family during their dedication, or maybe it's even gift cards. Like I've had some folks do like a stock the fridge or stock the freezer, or, you know, pantry or whatnot. And then, you know, including a brief article in the newsletter or your bulletin or email that goes out, link on your website. It's probably a little bit more easier for us to all do this in this day and age as we all transition to a more virtual space. So I will certainly provide all of this content and information as well. So you can simply copy, paste, and include it in anywhere that you would like to, about Habitat in general, about the work we do, and about the Faith Builds program and volunteering and praying and donating.
Yeah, that'd be helpful, Lee. If you just have it doesn't have to be real long, and then I can even reduce it further so that it fits in our newsletter, because everyone is reading our online.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. And so what I've started to do is creating kind of like a church bulletin language and sending that over in a Word document so that you can cut and paste and use whatever
Right.
pieces make the most sense.
Right.
Awesome.
So yeah, a little bit about Habitat, although most of us know it, but then specifically about this particular faith build would be helpful.
Awesome. Definitely.
And I need that. Let's see. Obviously, these newsletters go out by like June 10th. We're that's our deadline for the July. Yeah, for the July newsletter. The deadline.
That is plenty of time. As I mentioned, following this call, I'm actually off tomorrow, but most likely on Tuesday when we're back to the office, you guys will all be hearing from me, and I'll have all of this content information ready for you to go.
Okay, great.
That should be,
You
yeah,
could do it
like
tomorrow.
first week of June. Yeah.
Stay home tomorrow and do it.
Yeah, okay. I haven't had a vacation in a while, so it's gonna feel nice. Okay, but now without further ado, unless there's any other questions before I move into our house tour.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you did say that this is recorded, but I guess I'm not really sure if I would use them, but I was wondering if just the slides, the informational slides could be sent for me to share with, we have a kind of a core group that has done Habitat trips and stuff. So at least with them and perhaps even, more widely within the congregation.
Sure, most certainly. And there is a website too. It's h4h.org/Thrivent. And that will have all of this information as well. And what I'm going to do following this event is post this PowerPoint as well that you can download the video separately. And then again, the flyers, all of the church bulletin, but I'll also send it all to you as well, just so you have it in your email inbox and can find it in a multitude of ways.
Great, thank you.
Great idea. Thank you, Katie. Any other questions before we move? Great. Okay, well, without further ado, here's the home. Do my best. Tell me if I start getting too fuzzy, but this will be the front of the home. As you can see, we've kind of ripped off the front and we're starting to rebuild the inside of that. So here, front door. Getting better at walking around with my computer since we do. Oh, that's Jackson over there working. He will most likely actually be here when you guys come out. He's the house leader on the house, finishing his lunch and working. This will be the front room. Kind of see, and then we'll be able to walk through here.
Leah, I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Maybe if you stopped sharing your screen, we would be able to see
better?
you bigger.
Okay, good idea. Stop share. Ooh. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, there's a speaker view setting. So you can pick the speaker view setting in the top right corner and it'll give
Perfect.
it will show you a bigger picture of this house. So you can see the windows that still need to go in. We'll use volunteers to put those in. This will be the kitchen area. From what I understand. More big space over here. Typically our houses are between 800 and 900 square feet. So this one is actually a little larger than a lot of our homes. It is on a basement. Yes. And this will be kind of where the furnace water heater is. This will be the bathroom. I know it's really hard to picture, especially when we're at stud level right now. One of the bedrooms will be back here. So you can see the stud right here, and that'll be a nice sizable room. Is it safe? Yes. Yep. So we can't get down into the basement right now, but it's down that dark hole. And good. Okay, thank you. I won't walk on it again. And this is when is this going to be the kitchen, Jackson? Back here? Okay, so this is like the main living room?
It is, yep.
Okay, I figured. So this is like the main living area. Some of the windows are already in. Not much to show, but by the time you guys get here, there'll probably be a little bit more done. Yeah, so this whole front was, this part right here is a little bit of an addition, it looks like. You can see we pretty much ripped it all the way down to the studs. So we will be rebuilding with you all. Okay, good stuff. I will step back outside. And is there any questions while I'm walking?
Maybe you already said this, but I'm wondering what's the schedule of a build day, you know, the hours that you're there?
Sure. So a typical build day with us is 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We do break for lunch about an hour, usually around noon. Folks can stay here and eat on site, but there's also some nice, wonderful local places to eat around here, as you know. And then we do have the 4 to 6 volunteers, but we have all the tools, materials, anything that anybody would need.
Thanks.
Yeah, and we do work with groups on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. We do have, like I said, the few designated days, open days for this faith build. Let me find the dates again. That is July 9th, 10th, and 23rd. But if you'd like to schedule a day just for your congregation, we can do that as well.
Great.
What happens on Monday through Wednesday? Are you hiring skilled contractors?
Yes, actually. We can't do plumbing, roofing, electrical with volunteers. So we do use local contractors to help us with those projects. But also our team is off on Mondays because they work on Saturdays. And then Tuesdays are planning day. So when we start to get ready for the volunteer groups coming out that following weekend, so they'll start to get all the materials together, make sure we have everything and get in touch with everybody. And then Wednesday, that usually Tuesday and Wednesday, and mostly Thursdays, if we don't have groups, we'll have contractors in and making sure that all that work is done as well. Any other questions?
So I know you said, you know, there's certain days for the faith build, and then there's also some days that if we were able to get 4 to 6 volunteers, those dates are available for just our particular congregation. And then you mentioned also that there might be the possibilities of additional dates. And I'm just wondering how that might work. And, you know, if you, or maybe that comes later, you know, if none of these dates work for our people, you know, I'm just wondering, you know, how flexibly you can, you know, accommodate our scheduling needs.
Sure. We only allow for at least 3 full groups at any given Friday, Saturday. That's just based on staff and who we can have here on site to be able to help folks. So I was going to pull up the days that we had. I checked our calendar before the meeting to see what days in June and July we have. And that was June 25th, June 26th, and then July 16th and 17th. And if those dates don't work, then I would ask, you know, if you could give me 2 or 3 days, a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday that would work for you. And I'll check our construction calendar and make sure we have room to host a group, and then we'll schedule it from there. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's helpful.
And this home is targeted to close in September, so there is opportunity in August as well.
Okay.
I just didn't look that far out, but off the top of my head, I know we don't have a ton of groups. We're not overwhelmed. Usually spring's our busy season, so we should have some room on a date that would work. Great. Well, any other questions? Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining. It was nice to meet some of you, and we appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit about us and our partnership with Thrivent and this Faith Builds Home. And I really hopefully look forward to seeing you guys on site soon. As I said, I will follow this up, most likely not today, but by early next week with this recording, volunteer flyer with each of you, and then we can start the conversation on how you would like to get involved. And please feel free to let me know if there's any other resources or information you need at this time. One final thing is that we have done pre-recording videos. I know a lot of people are doing virtual services. So if that's something, we can certainly do that. I'll also send you information on the family, so everybody has the flyer about the family with information to share as your congregation as well.
And Leah, I'll just add, if you are connected to other like sister congregations that you think would be interested in this opportunity, there's room for some other congregations to be involved as well. So, you know, please take this information and share it widely. Yes,
spread the word. All right, well, we appreciate it, and I look forward to you guys meeting the family. As I said, we'll do the house will be finished in September-ish, so there'll be a dedication at that time as well. So if you don't get to meet her on site, you'll definitely meet her then. But thank you again, and I look forward to seeing and working with you all.
Thanks, Lee. Nice job.
Have a wonderful
Thanks,
day.
Leah. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.